Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Sunday, August the 4th. For this video, we're going to cover the 9-game main slate for DraftKings today. Look at pitching at the top, start off at the top, work our way through the player pool. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitching options that I like today that I feel like I'm going to be playing. Then we'll look at some batters, 3 specific hitters that I really like. We'll talk about some stacks that I'll be playing, and then towards the end of the video, we'll look at some BVP plays as well. But before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. So at the top of the pitcher player pool today, Justin Verlander is our most expensive option. He's pitching at home, $12K against the Mariners. Verlander by far the best option on the slate in terms of projection. I would expect him to be my highest projected pitcher today. But given the price tag, the $12K price tag, and some of the options that we have on the slate, like for cheaper, I don't think Verlander is a necessity. I don't think you have to have him. He's been great this year, no doubt, especially like his last game against Cleveland. I didn't play much of him. I thought he was a bit overpriced for the matchup, and he just went out there and mowed down the Cleveland Indians, 7 innings, 2 hits allowed, 13 strikeouts. Verlander has 40-point upside pretty much every time he steps on the mound. I like this matchup for him against the Mariners. Mariners don't have a ton of great hitters right now. Just not a great lineup in general, and there are some strikeouts in this lineup. But I think we could probably get similar production to Verlander for a little bit cheaper. I really like Caleb Smith today at $10,600, $1,400 less than Verlander. Not sure how popular he's going to be. I feel like most people are probably going to play Verlander at the top. I don't feel like guys like Bieber or Syndergaard or Smith are going to get much ownership. So that's why I really like Smith here. Against the Rays, a team that does strike out versus left-handed pitching. It is going to be a right-handed heavy lineup. The only lefty in the projected lineup is Austin Meadows, But still, I really like this matchup for Smith. I think the K's can be there in this matchup. On the other side, I think Yahoo Chirinos at $8,600 is definitely a good play against the Marlins. I feel like both of these pitchers I'm going to have a lot of exposure to. Both are in pretty favorable spots. A great pitching environment, great pitching park in Tampa Bay and Tropicana Field. So I like going to Caleb Smith. I think he can get you 30 DraftKings points in this matchup. Caleb Smith does have elite strikeout stuff. He does have a lot of K upside. Just look at every start he's made this year. He's pretty much 7, 8 Ks. Sometimes he'll get you 9 Ks. When the matchup's right, you can get a big game from Caleb Smith, and I do like this matchup for him against a strikeout-heavy Rays team versus left-handers. So Caleb Smith going to be the guy that I look to as the SP1. For SP2, I think there's multiple ways you can go. Yahoo Chirinos, I did mention. I like him a lot, $8,600 at home against the Marlins. Chirinos is nicely priced for this matchup. He's going to be pretty popular, I would imagine, just given the price tag and the matchup, the ballpark. He's at home, so a lot of people are probably going to look to Chirinos, but he does make a lot of sense at $8,600. If you want to go with him as your SP1 maybe and spend up for a lot of bats, or if you want to try and fit him in as an SP2, I think that makes some sense. Jake Odorizzi at home against the Royals. I like that matchup for Odorizzi at $7,800. He's a guy you could look to. He would be more of a secondary option, though. I would definitely have him ranked behind Chirinos, and I would probably have him ranked behind Drew Smyly. Drew Smyly is probably my favorite value pitcher on the slate. He's only $6,600 on DraftKings. He's in a very favorable matchup, pitching at home against the White Sox. Drew Smyly has been better lately. This is not a guy that I've really rostered at all this year. He was with the Rangers, I believe, to begin the year. I didn't really roster him any. He's made 2 starts with the Phillies at Pittsburgh and then at home against San Francisco. And he was really good in both starts. In that start against Pittsburgh, he went 6 innings, only allowed 4 hits, 1 run, got 8 strikeouts, 23 DraftKings points. And then in his last start against San Francisco, 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 26 DraftKings points. So with the Phillies, Drew Smyly has been really good. Now he's pitching at home against a really bad White Sox lineup that has a lot of strikeouts in the lineup. You're going to have the pitcher in there, which just pretty much adds strikeout to the lineup. Pretty low total for the White Sox as well. 4.2 implied run total. I think Drew Smyly has a lot of things going in his favor today. The price tag on DraftKings is pretty nice at $6,600. If you're looking for like a expensive stack to get to and you still want to get in an expensive pitcher, you could definitely play like Smith and Smyly together and still get in a couple of expensive bats, or you could go Verlander, Smyly, whichever you want to do. But if I'm going for a cheap guy, Drew Smyly's definitely my guy at $6,600. Joe Musgrove, I imagine, is going to get a decent amount of ownership pitching at home against the Mets. People are probably going to look to Musgrove as SP2, and I think that does make some sense. I do prefer Smiley, though. I like Smiley's matchup more, but Musgrove definitely going to be a guy that I have in my player pool. And then guys like Berea, Hauser, Eshelman, not going to be going to. So if you're going cheap, Smiley and Musgrove are the two guys I like for cheap. But I think that's pretty much it for pitching. I think I pretty much covered all the guys that I feel like I'm going to be playing today. So let's go ahead and talk about some bats. I want to start off with the Blue Jays. I think they're going to be my favorite stack on this main slate. 6.2 implied run total right now versus Tom Eshelman. This is such a great spot for the Blue Jays. Eshelman is a terrible pitcher. He gives up a lot of home runs. The Blue Jays are in a great hitter's park. It's going to be 86 degrees, so pretty favorable hitting weather. You got some pretty decent value in this lineup as well. Not a ton of expensive hitters. Gurriel and Vlad Jr. are 5K and 4,900, but everyone else under them is 44 or below. So you can definitely probably fit in an expensive pitcher with the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays are going to be a team I look to. I really like Vlad Jr. at 4,900. He's going to be one of my favorite plays on this slate. I think he just has so much upside here against Eshelman. Eshelman's been giving up a lot of home runs, both sides of the plate this year. We obviously know that Vlad Jr. has a ton of power. He's been hitting the ball well lately as well, which we like to see. 2 home run game against Baltimore to start off the series, had a home run against KC, 3 home runs in his last 3 games. Really like Vlad Jr. here, been heating up lately, been hitting the ball better, and now he gets a great matchup against Eshelman. So Vlad Jr., going to be a guy that I look to in my Blue Jay stacks. Also, Bo Bichette, I think is still way too cheap on DraftKings at 4,300. Really haven't adjusted his price. He should be like upwards of 5K. This guy is a really good hitter, top prospect for the Blue Jays. You look at the game logs since he's been in the majors, the 4 or 5 games he's been in. He's been really good, been very consistent for fantasy. Does have some power, has a little bit of speed as well. Just a really good hitter overall. Should be batting leadoff for a Blue Jays team with a 6.2 implied run total. So Bichette's a guy I like, obviously like Vlad. I like Biggio a lot. Gurriel's going to be a guy I target. Justin Smoke, one of my favorite first base plays at 4,300. Randall Grichuk, a lot of power at 4,100. You can target him in the outfield. Freddie Galvis probably won't be going to because I just prefer Bichette for 200 more and they play the same position. But then if you need value with a cheap catcher, you got Reese McGuire at 3,400. Billy McKinney, probably not a guy I'm going to target much because I think I'd rather play Grichuk for just 100 more. But if you're doing like a full 5-man stack, you obviously want to try and get some exposure to the bottom of the order because if the Blue Jays score a ton of runs today, there's a good chance the bottom of the order guys are also going to produce as well. But I would say my favorite part of the stack is probably the 1 through 5 with Bichette through Smoke. Those are the guys I'm going to be targeting the most. So the Blue Jays are a team that I really like today, and I think the Twins are another team that you can look to against Brad Keller. Brad Keller, really not that bad of a pitcher. He's just sort of mediocre, but this is a tough spot for him, having to face the Twins on the road. The Twins just have such a good lineup with a ton of power, so I really like this spot for the Twins. Eddie Rosario really stands out to me at only 4,500 on DraftKings. His price tag compared to some of the other guys is why he really sticks out. Just look at the Twins lineup. Max Kepler's 5,300. Cruz is 5,600, Sano's 5K. Polanco I like at 4,400, and Rosario at 4,500 really stands out. And then if you do need some value from the Twins, the 6 through 9 hitters give you a lot of value, all under 4K. So the Twins are another team you could probably fit in with an expensive pitcher. You're just going to have to play some of those bottom of the lineup guys, which I never mind doing if I'm full stacking a team. But Rosario, whether you're stacking the Twins or you just want to play him as a one-off, really like him here versus Keller. Keller will give up home runs to left-handed hitters. We know how much power Rosario has versus righties. He's just in a very favorable spot, very favorable matchup. The price tag is really nice as well. So Eddie Rosario, if I'm stacking the Twins, is going to be one of the guys I look to first in my Twin stacks. But anyways, these are my 5 plays for DraftKings today, guys. Let's go ahead and look at some stacks real quick. We'll talk about some BVP as well before we end the video. So you can kind of see it already. My 2 favorite stacks are going to be the Twins and the Blue Jays. Twins and Blue Jays are going to be the 2 teams I look to the most. But some other teams I'll have some exposure to. Wouldn't mind going to some Philly bats versus Ronaldo Lopez. Lopez has been better lately. Not a great spot for him, though, having to face a really good Phillies lineup that does have a lot of power. They do have a 5.4 implied run total as well, which is sort of scary if you're targeting Lopez or if you want to play Lopez. So I would actually rather play some Phillies bats. Don't want to go to Lopez here. But then some other stacks we can maybe go to. Really aren't any other standout teams. Maybe the Astros versus Tommy Malone. Whether Malone's starting or if he's going to be the long man, you can definitely look to some of these Astros bats versus left-handed pitching. These guys hit the ball so well. Springer, Altuve, Bregman, Correa, Gurriel, Chirinos, Marisnik. I do like the Astros, but they're going to be sort of a secondary team behind the Twins and behind the Blue Jays. So I think that's it for stacks today, guys. Let's go ahead and look at some BVP real quick before we end the video. So starting off, Brian McCann gone 4 for 14 with the home run off Sonny Gray. Derek Dietrich 8 for 30 with 2 home runs off Julio Teheran. Whit Merrifield, great BVP off Odorizzi, 8 for 16 with 3 home runs. Alex Gordon 6 for 20 with a home run. Tim Beckham 5 for 12, 2 home runs off Justin Verlander. Kyle Seager 8 for 30 with 3 home runs off of Verlander. And then lastly, Mike Moustakas has gone 3 for 12 with the home run off Yu Darvish. So those are just a couple of BVP plays for today. I think that is it for this video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like down below. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But good luck today on this slate. Appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.